Jai Shri Ram. In the Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, the 10th shloka is very interesting for many reasons. If you are a serious student of Bhagavad Gita, if you are doing PhD in the Bhagavad Gita, then you will love this small discussion. I had to do considerable research now. Now, the problem with 110 is a simple looking shloka which has been interpreted differently by great scholars. The shloka is aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam paryaptam tvidam etesham balam bhima virakshitam. Aparyaptam is a word which can mean unlimited. It can also mean in a different context, if used with a certain set of words, it can also mean incomplete. For example, Telugu example, ఇది అపర్యాప్తంగానే ఉండిపోయినది. So that means incomplete. ये अपर्याप्त है, ये अपर्याप्त ही रह गया, मतलब पर्याप्त नहीं हुआ, that means पूरा नहीं हुआ, that means incomplete. अपर्याप्त धन मतलब बहुत सारा, infinite, अपर्याप्तమైన संपदा. So there is a problem with the word aparyaptam. The meaning of aparyaptam obviously will depend upon the other words in the sentence. Therefore, all this confusion. Now, whether it's a serious confusion or not, that's a different discussion. But it's interesting, you see, Krishna already said in the 10th chapter, 9th verse, Machchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantah Parasparam Kadayant Taschaman Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. That means Krishna is saying, my devotees, because their minds are fixed on me and their lives are completely surrendered to me, my devotees always are content in me, with me, and they derive great satisfaction and joy in enlightening one another about me and in conversing about my glories. So, Krishna clearly mentioned this. 10.9 Machchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kadayantaschaman Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Parasparam, one another, Kathayantaha, speaking. So Krishna says that Krishna's devotees, his devotees, are so much in love and joy, and that talking about Krishna gives them the ultimate joy. That is why I am also talking like this and you are listening to it. Okay, so now keep aside the doubts about whether this discussion is of any vital significance. That is secondary. But a larger point that I am trying to drive at is, when great scholars are seemingly taking contradictory positions, ordinary mortals like me are likely to be really confused. Therefore, Adi Shankara also said, Tadidam Gita Shastram Samasta Vedartha Sarasangraha Bhutam Durvigneyartham. Tadidam Gita Shastram Samasta Vedartha Sarasangraha Bhutam Durvigneyartham. That is, Adi Shankara himself is confessing that this Bhagavad Gita is the quintessence of all the Vedas, but it's very difficult to understand. Now, Adi Shankara was a prodigy. By the age of 10, he mastered all. Some say 6. I am just stretching it to 10. He is an incarnation of Shiva. He is a Vibhuti of Shiva. So, a person who has mastered all the Vedas, Smriti, Shastra, Purana, Itihas, everything. And if he is saying it's difficult to understand, then what should a mere mortal like me say? I should always be humble enough to say, I understood a little, and that little is sufficient for me to run my life, and it is conferring me infinite bliss and happiness, and I am able to manage my affairs very well. So I am keen to tell you, because Krishna also said 1868 to 71 that he loves the most the devotee who is preaching the Bhagavad Gita. Abhidasyati means preaching, Adhyeshyate means studying, Shrunu means listening. All three are guaranteed moksha, 1868 to 71. Now let's get back to 110. Now this is very interesting. I have provided some pictures here with my jottings. So aparyaptam tadasmakam balam Asmakam, our balam is force or strength, or balam can mean violence. Balam occurs about 5 times in the Gita. Once it occurs with a negative word, 7:11 in that verse, 7th chapter 11. No, that is positive. 7:11 is positive. In the 18th chapter, balam occurs where it is used negatively. Yeah? Okay. Now that's a different discussion on balam. We'll discuss that later. Bhishma Abhirakshatam, guarded by Bhishma. Paryaptam. Now Paryaptam. Now Paryaptam is another very interesting word which can acquire different meanings depending on the Paryaptam. Paryapt ho gaya, pura ho gaya. Paryapt, Paryapt. Paryapt hai? That means is it enough? So as far as Paryapt is considered, is taken into, I think Paryapt has a simple clear meaning. Paryapt, complete. Paryapt. Okay, let us leave it there. Paryaptam, Paryaptam Tvidame Tesham Balam Bhima Virakshitam. Tu, however, is idam, this. Etesham, there. Balam, force. Bhima Abhirakshatam, guarded by Bhima. Unlimited. Now let us see. Mukundananda, Swami Mukundananda. I rate his interpretation very highly. Of course, sometimes I am a little annoyed because he is mentioning Akbar and Baba Farid, and these bloody Sufi saints are rogues and rascals. So I don't agree with Swami Mukundananda ji. For whatever reason he has quoted them. Akbar was a bloody lecher. Why should Akbar be mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? I have serious objections, Swami Mukundananda ji. Akbar was a bloody lecher, a short fellow, 5 feet 2 inches with bow legs, bandy legged, with a face full of pock marks and a mole on his nose the size of a green piece, bald headed, addicted to alcohol and ganja, and who had abducted 5,000 Hindu women and kept them in his seraglio harem. Now imagine, even if he daily copulates with one woman, 5,000 women, how many years will it take for this scoundrel, this short 5 feet 2 inches pockmarked face, ugly looking rascal? And how many Hindu girls, princesses and queens of Chota kings, Rajas, he abducted them. That is the worst kind of crime. And we were told that Akbar is great, the Akbar the Great. And then Akbar also on 2 distinct occasions, he slaughtered about 35,000 each on each occasion, non-combatants, that is kafirs, and built a mound of their beheaded skulls, because that was a hobby of these rascals. The Mughal Islamic invaders, they loved to pile up the heads of Hindus. Akbar also did that. Now by what, from how can you call this man great Akbar? So this is sufficient. I don't want to dwell on this further. So I hope Swami Mukundananda ji gives me a patient hearing, and in his next edition he removes this Baba Farid is, I do not know Baba Farid, all Sufi rascals. These Sufi scoundrels were actually the arm, the proselytizing arm of the Islamic war machine. And there were some people who were not willing to get converted easily, especially Brahmins who were knowledgeable. These rascals used Sam, Dan, Dand, Ved to convert Hindus. And even now many foolish Hindus are going to dargahs and offering chaddar. Mount Abu is one good example. Salim Chishti. Chishti was responsible for the rape and murder of Samyukta, who was the wife of Prithviraj Chauhan. Fortunately, her daughters took revenge and killed Chishti. So that is how the story of Chishti ended. But now Chishti is being quoted as a great Sufi saint. Look at his history. It is murky, dirty, diabolical, evil. He is a Rakshas, modern day Asur. And so how can you quote them? Okay. Swami Mukundananda says ours is unlimited. Madhvacharya says ours is unlimited. But Madhvacharya adds that Duryodhana is saying our army is unlimited actually to conceal his fear. So that is wonderful. Swami Mukundananda will also be giving you a very rational explanation. No doubt about that. So, except that, Akbar and Baba Farid part, I have no problems with Swami Mukundananda. I rate his interpretation very highly. So, please get yourself a copy. But please write to him and tell him, sir, please remove this nonsense. Ramanujacharya says ours is inadequate. Adi Shankaracharya says ours is inadequate. Sridharacharya says ours is insufficient, although mighty. Although mighty, it is insufficient. Why? Sridhara explains, just because the others are not explaining, it doesn't mean that these reasons don't exist there. Okay. Sridhara Swami says, Duryodhana has his doubts about Bhishma, his misgivings, because Bhishma, in Duryodhana's opinion, is not totally committed, while Bhima is totally committed. Because, as you know, Bhishma said that he will not kill the Pandavas. Bhishma had a soft corner for the Pandavas. So that is the reason. Sridhara Swami says, ours is mighty. Although mighty, it is insufficient. Keshava Kashmiri says, although unlimited, but Keshav Kashmiri, this is Kumara Vaishnava Sampradaya, and Keshav Kashmiri says, Duryodhana's tone sounds as if he is feeling that it is inadequate, but externally he is saying ours is unlimited, overcompensating. So in psychology we have this, people who overcompensate for their weakness. Prabhupada, Swami Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON, ours is immeasurable. So, and Prabhupada says, Duryodhana was confident of victory. Even this is okay, there's nothing wrong. I am not trying to find fault with anybody here. See, the rest of the discussion of Swami Prabhupada you can read. If Duryodhana is thinking according to Prabhupada that ours is immeasurable and we are confident of victory, this is natural. Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi, and he was a rascal, he thought he will somehow win. That is how, Asuras behave. That is how Krishna, all the Dashavataras, Krishna descends constantly to rout these rascals. So that is also alright. So that is how Prabhupada explained Duryodhana's state of mind. Ram Sukdas ji, Gita Press, he interprets as ours is inadequate. Jaidayal Goyandaka, exactly opposite. Both Ram Sukdas ji and Jaidayal Goyandaka are, in my opinion, the best commentators of Bhagavad Gita. And I would rank Mukundananda as equal. Of course, you cannot question Madhvacharya, Shankara, Ramanuja, but their translations done by, the original Sanskrit was translated into English, and the translators have taken, exactly conflicting, contradictory positions on the same text. I'll come to that later. So Ram Sukdas ji and Jaidayal Goyandaka, in my opinion, are the best. But Ram Sukdas ji is saying ours is inadequate. Jaidayal Goyandaka is saying ours is unconquerable. The same shloka, two great scholars are taking an exact opposite position. But when you read their explanation, you will be convinced. Because the logic will be, this fellow is an arrogant, dangerous, diabolical, evil, malicious character, and he is puffed up with pride and he thinks he can manage. So that's also okay. Or others might say, he is concealing his fear. Even that is convincing. So both arguments are convincing. Okay. Then Swami Gambhirananda, I think this is R.K. Math translation, R.K. Math publication. Swami Gambhirananda translated Adi Shankara's Bhashyam, and he said it is unlimited. The same Shankara Bhashyam translated into English by A.G. Krishnavariyar, another great scholar, he says inadequate. Swami Gambhirananda says unlimited of the same Shankara Bhashyam, and Krishnavariyar says inadequate. So both are translating the same Shankara commentary, but they are using exactly opposite words. So this is a very interesting situation, isn't it? Anyway, my contention is, if you read the 11th shloka, Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yada bhagam avastitah bhishmamev abhirakshantu bhavantas sarvayevahi. Duryodhana is saying, therefore, your honor, he is addressing actually Drona. Indeed, you all standing firm on all the fronts according to your ranks, please protect Bhishma, give cover to Bhishma. Now, I think this shloka is the key to the meaning of the earlier one. Because when Duryodhana is saying that Bhishma needs to be protected, it sounds funny and irrational. Because imagine, does a lion have to be protected by dogs? No. Unless, of course, a big troop of hyenas are attacking the lion from all sides. So some dogs will ward off the hyenas for some time. Now I am trying to rationalize it. But forget the analogy that I have provided. Does a lion need security guards in the form of dogs? Dogs in the form of security guards? No. The lion's presence is sufficient. Now, if the lion needs to be protected, there must be something wrong with the lion. Either the lion is old, effete like Manmohan, powerless. He was anyway always powerless. So, Bhishma defeated Parshurama. Bhishma, does he need protection? But Duryodhana must have felt, because this man has a soft heart for the Pandavas, he may not really, because he openly said, I will not kill the Pandavas. And if you don't kill the Pandavas, they will come back again and again. So Duryodhana had no hope that Bhishma would, really defeat the Pandava army. So therefore he said, okay, at least to the extent that this man can do whatever he can, protect him so that if they knock him off, because he knew that once Krishna is on the other side, Krishna will use, he will outfox these scoundrels. He will outfox. And accordingly, Shikandi was placed in front. Though Shikandi was a Maharatha, he was a male. Bhishma had his own obsessions and fixations. Shikandi was born female, but he got magically transformed into a male, and he was known as a Maharathi. And people commented when Shikandi was battling, fighting, he looked like Sri Ramachandra of Ramayana. So that was the glory of Shikandi. Whereas in Hindi and Telugu movies, Shikandi is portrayed as a transsexual and very effeminate in character. That is not true. Anyway, Shikandi was placed in front. And Arjuna shot arrows at Bhishma and he was felled. So Krishna used sufficiently, because Bhishma was sitting and watching Draupadi getting stripped. So when you can, behave so adharmically, we are under no obligation to extend a dharmic procedure to deal with. So now the 11th shloka clearly tells us that Duryodhana is scared. He is actually ambivalent. He has mixed feelings. He is torn apart. But deep down he knows that Bhishma, though capable, won't. And therefore, to the extent that he can do damage, which is at least to wipe out the entire army and perhaps leave those 5 Pandavas and Krishna alone, then perhaps we can do something about those fellows. And therefore, please protect him. Because once Bhishma is gone, the task might be a little more difficult. Jai Shri Ram.